guys, welcome to this video. Today I'm going to show you how to make an amazing apple oatmeal bread. It's totally hands-off because we're going to be using a bread maker. This is a vegan recipe. It's super healthy, super delicious. Let's get started. This apple oatmeal bread is the perfect vegan bread machine recipe. It combines healthy oatmeal, flaxseed, and apples with a touch of cinnamon and vanilla for a sweet treat that you can actually feel good about. Our ingredients for our vegan apple oatmeal bread are really simple. We're going to be starting with some all-purpose flour. You can use bread flour if you like, but if all you have is all-purpose on hand, it works just fine for this recipe. Quick oats is another ingredient that we're going to use. Make sure you're not going to use steel cut oats or the large flake kind. It just doesn't break down as well in this recipe, so be sure you're using instant or quick oats. Ground flax. When flax is ground, the nutrients are available to be digested, and grinding the flax, it also helps it to gel, making for a really super soft crumb, similar to like how an egg would. Brown sugar. So I've just used the regular Rogers brown sugar here, but you could easily substitute coconut sugar if you prefer. Be careful not to swap out any of the sugar-free sweeteners because you actually need this ingredient to feed the yeast in order to make our bread rise. So it's not going to work if you go ahead and swap it out with xylitol or stevia or anything like that. Of course, we're going to be using apples. Make sure that you peel and dice your apple, removing the core and the seeds. You're going to need 2/3 of a cup for this recipe, which is about 1 medium apple. We're going to be using plant milk for this recipe. I personally absolutely love silk soy milk. It's nice and thick and creamy, but you can absolutely go ahead and substitute any plant-based milk that you have on hand for this recipe. Vanilla. The vanilla adds such a delicious sweet flavor to this apple oatmeal loaf. Make sure you're using a quality vanilla for the best flavor. Now I did go ahead and use a bit of vegetable oil for this recipe. The oil adds a little bit more moisture to the bread and it contributes to a softer crumb. But if you'd prefer to leave it out, you can absolutely swap it out for just a couple extra tablespoons of water. There's enough of the ground flax in this recipe to hold the moisture in the loaf without needing to add anything else. Salt. Measure this ingredient very carefully as it does interact with the yeast. If you add too little, you're going to have more of a rise, and if you add too much, you're going to get a short, compact loaf of bread. Cinnamon. So this ingredient also can interact with the yeast. Make sure you add it away from the yeast. So especially if you're going to be using the delay setting on your bread machine, and you can do this by just making a bit of a hole in the flour to contain the cinnamon in. And then here I have some bread machine yeast. Guys, it's really important that you're using bread machine or instant yeast when you're making bread in a bread maker. The traditional yeast, it comes in larger granules and it doesn't break down and do what it needs to do while working in a bread machine. You actually need to use that yeast separately. You need to activate it prior to making bread. And so it just is not conducive to be used in a bread machine recipe. You guys, if you really like this recipe, make sure you check out this vegan bread recipe right here. It's super delicious. It's gotten a lot of great reviews on Pinterest, and I know you're gonna love it. I appreciate you guys. Thanks so much for being here. We will see you soon in the next one.